Yo, what's going on, guys? We are back for another Chainsaw Man chapter, and it sort of blew my mind that we're getting this right now, but the Death Devil is finally getting revealed. Nayuta, Asa, I guess Yoru, and Fami's older sister, and they said she's the strongest of them all and the most feared. So I'm just super hyped after reading this. I literally had to make a video right away because this chapter is banging. I've been saying it for the past few chapters, but we're really picking up in like pacing, speed, and like just the story's actually moving forward for once. Like, I mean, we had a slower slice of life sort of manga before this, but now we're getting into the real Chainsaw Man shit. So let's just get right into it with chapter 146 titled Chainsaw Man War. And it sort of has a double meaning, so we'll get into that later when they like bring it up. But right away we start off with Asa losing her arm just like last chapter. Yoshida is standing behind her like, I'm sorry I had to do this, like even after you followed all my orders and stuff. And he's like, well, let me just cut you. And he brings his sword up and we cut away from that scene. So I'm just gonna guess like what happens to Asa next is maybe Yoru's gonna switch places with her and like sort of try to fight, but I'm really not sure how she's gonna get her arm back because, you know, she's part devil, so she needs blood to heal, but I'm not really sure, like maybe the horsemen heal like even easier than regular devils, but we'll really see what happens next because Yoshida, top tier fighter in the verse, like literally. I'm pretty sure he's Kishibe's like illegitimate son or something because, I mean, if we look at him in this fit, and I saw someone on Twitter post this, but his like public safety like fit that he's wearing right now is like almost the exact same to young Kishibe. It's been a theory for a while that Yoshida is like Kishibe's like son or related to him in some way, but I mean, I think this brings even more relevancy to that theory just because Fujimoto's like, let me just dress him up exactly the same as the time that I showed Kishibe as a young dude trying to like flirt with Quan Chi and stuff. So we'll see later on if Fujimoto's just going to drop that plot point or if he will actually bring it up and it'll be reoccurring because we have not seen Kishibe yet. But enough with this rambling on the first page. Let's go to the rest of this chapter where we cut to see Barim and he's in handcuffs talking about, you know, the Justice Devil grants powers to whoever has a contract with and they can transform to like whatever they want. So, I mean, we saw Yuko and I guess one of her teachers, Asa's teachers, they both transformed early on in the part and they had like these really weird, like gruesome, grotesque forms. So maybe that's just them like transforming into a devil because like, I need to turn into a devil to have more power from the contract. But we know now this is not the Justice Devil's power, but the power that like he says like everything's true what he explained besides the devil's name. So all the powers that they get, like being able to turn into whatever form they desire, which is a huge one coming up in this chapter, is true. And he even brings Fami back up, which I've been waiting for Fami to actually get brought up again by other people, but he's like, Fami has handy pawns. So she's like probably manipulating this devil, that the actual devil that they're using, you know, not the Justice Devil, but he's like, you know, we contracted like a lot of followers with a like insanely powerful devil, and he tells us who he's contracted them with, and we see this like really cool panel of like some smoke coming up, and you know what's gonna happen with that smoke, something erupts into fire, and then we get Barim saying this is the fire devil. And I mean right away, fire definitely way more scary than justice just because it's like a primordial fear, I'm gonna guess. Like darkness, fire, sort of two sides of a coin somewhat. I mean, I guess it's really darkness and light, but like fire is an insane thing for humans, and of course it has such a crazy powerful ability, like letting you turn into whatever you desire. In these next panels we see that power in play because all of these, I'm guessing, Chainsaw Man church followers who actually have contracted with this fire devil, they all start turning into like this Chainsaw Man. They all have the chainsaws coming out of their face and stuff, and even some of them have them coming out of their arms and stuff. So I mean, I'm just gonna guess that since they made this plan, the Chainsaw Man church, they had this plan and they basically just told the fire devil, I guess, to turn everybody, or they all turned at the exact same time due to, you know, like the plan or something. So we'll see, but it really looks like they're in, like some of these guys are like in pain, but I mean, we've seen Denji turn and he looked really like in pain a lot. So we know it hurts to have these chainsaws come out of you, but we just see a bunch of people just turning. And like the people around them aren't turning, but like some of them are, and like big groups of Chainsaw Man church followers are all turning like together in front of like devil hunters and stuff like that. And then back at the Chainsaw Man Church, we do a lot of cutting around on this chapter. We see that Nail Devil, I'm just going to call her the Nail Devil with like her brains exposed on the side, and Katana Man. And in front of them are all the kids that they were going to have to fight. You know, the Nail Devil pinned all these students to the walls and stuff, but they all get down, I guess, and they all turn into the Chainsaw Man. Or they all have chainsaws coming out of their faces. They don't have like the helmet or like the face that Chainsaw Man has. It's the regular face. They just have like the chainsaw coming out a little bit, like halfway, and then they have chainsaws on their hands now. So like, this is like, I mean, it comes back to the title, Chainsaw Man War. When you think about it, this is going to be a war of chainsaw men. I mean, it's pretty simple, but also there's another meaning with, you know, the war devil, but we'll get through that at the end of the chapter. But we have the Katana Man. He's like, he hates Chainsaw Man. So he's like, Chainsaw Man. He goes and he's about to go and attack all of them, I'm guessing. He's probably going to kill them all, even though they're kids and stuff. But, I mean, who cares? But we have, I think this is Bareem's narration again. He says, the Fire Devil has another power. And this one is probably the strongest power we've heard about yet, like next to like Makima ordering people around. The more people with contracts to the Fire Devil, the stronger like they get, like the stronger the whole devil gets in each contractor. So like that's just insane. And like we know why the Chainsaw Man Church was made now, to get all of these kids to contract with this devil to create like such a super powerful devil and stuff like that. But in reality, they're doing it for a few other reasons than just making the Fire Devil strong. But like they're talking about how this also makes them lose control of themselves. So they basically aren't really humans anymore. I'm guessing they're zombies. And then we see like all of them, I mean, sort of like zombies. They're actually humans still, of course, but we see some of them just walking around like mindlessly, like cutting people up, like even like Chainsaw Man Church followers too, that have chainsaws out of them too. We see just everybody fighting each other, and like this is an actual Chainsaw Man war. They're all fighting each other. They're all fighting everybody else. So this stuff is like epic as fuck, because I never even would have guessed that we're gonna get all these people turning into Chainsaw Man or like a version of that. And it's just wicked because he said like before all this they took like gruesome forms, like, you know, the teacher that you know, in the first chapter, I'm pretty sure, like Yuko, and who was that other dude that turned recently, the Chainsaw Man Church, like one of the head dudes. They all took like really gruesome forms. But now, since like they're so close to like Chainsaw Man and like, you know, spiritually or whatever, they're able to turn into like more of a Chainsaw Man looking thing. And then Fumiko's like, but like, why only now? Like, you waited all this time to do this? And Bareem, he explains like, 5 o'clock today, we had a huge mass like wedding thing where everybody was going to get contracted at the same time. And they said about 350,000 humans contracted around the same time. And, or like they have a total of that many across the whole world, and a bunch of them like contracted at the same time to make it even stronger and stuff. So he says like, they're not really humans anymore. They're more like devils now. And that's just really interesting because, you know, they're not hybrids, I guess. They're just devils. They've been turned into devils now. So that's really interesting. Bareem basically has all these Chainsaw Man people behind him, still in cuffs, talking to Fumiko and Denji and Nayuta, of course. Right then, we see like a big explosion come out of a building somewhere. And like Denji's like, what? Like, like this whole time, Denji's sort of like confused and like he doesn't really believe what's happening. But like Bareem says, like in a year and a half, the great king of terror will like descend onto Earth. And he says, Fami and I are going to kill it so that we can save the human race. So, first of all, the great king of terror, if you guys didn't know right away, Death Devil, obviously. But Denji right away says, like, I'm not going to believe that. And Nayuta right away chimes up. She says, this is not like stupid crap. Like, this is real. She says, like, Fami and I, we can tell because we're sisters. The great king of terror will probably come. We know because she's our oldest sister. And that's just, I mean, we've been waiting. I've been predicting it forever now, that it's the oldest sister, Death Devil. Obviously, the most oldest, like, fear in the world is the fear of death. But obviously, she's the strongest too, and like the most powerful and the scariest. So we see the Death Devil. It finally gets revealed. The super duper strongest devil. Like Nayuta literally says it's the super duper strongest devil with the most feared name of all. And I mean, of course, it's death. Nobody wants to die in the grand scheme of things, but like that is, of course, the strongest devil of all. Also, if you guys are liking the Chainsaw Man content, want new chapter reviews each week, just please subscribe. I'd really appreciate it. Back to the video. I'm pretty sure death could be like a primordial, like fear, like darkness, but like it's a horseman. So I'm gonna guess it's even stronger than more like the darkness devil probably couldn't fight the death devil. Like Makima sort of got bodied by the darkness devil, but I'm pretty sure the death devil would be able to just body the darkness devil, just because death is more feared than darkness. I feel like it's probably, contentious, but either way, Naruto talks about, I see now what Fami's doing. Her plans to kill the death devil, and that's it. She's gonna make everybody super scared of Chainsaw Man and War, so that they can both get super duper duper strong. I love the translations and like just how they write for Naruto, because it's just so funny. But yeah, the plan is to make Denji and Asa extremely strong. And I mean, that's where the double meaning for the Chainsaw Man War is. Chainsaw Man and War, they got to get stronger. And also, this is going to be a Chainsaw Man War. Like literally and figuratively. But last page of the chapter, we have like all these Chainsaw Man church followers fighting like these devil hunters and like public safety. Because we see the suits, they got swords out, they're cutting them down and stuff. It's really sort of sad because these people aren't going to be able to change back, it seems like. Because, once you turn into a devil, you're pretty much done. But they just got to kill all these innocent people that really had no plan on being a devil, but wanted to support something bigger than themselves and stuff like that. So it's just sad they all got manipulated and they're getting murdered now. So, but that's the end of the chapter. We do have a break next week, sadly. But of course, Fujimoto, like usual, he's going to leave us off on just a banger chapter. So we have lots of stuff that definitely could come next. I mean, this is more of like a really cut and dry sort of chapter. Like, nothing too crazy is happening besides, the plot is actually being pushed forward, like in a way that we all predicted would happen, but weren't sure when it would happen. Like, I'm pretty sure everybody or all the Chainsaw Man fans, we knew after seeing or hearing about the 4 horsemen, we knew the Death Devil had to come into play sometime. Death is the strongest and most feared thing in the world, in my opinion. Like, nothing can stack up in fear-wise than the fear of dying. Everybody works to prevent that. Everybody wants to live their life and stuff. I mean, not everybody, I'll say that, but most people want to live their life and stuff, and they don't want it cut short. Or even when they're old, they just don't want it to end and stuff like that, So we'll definitely see what kind of powers the Death Devil has, because Makima's powers and Fami's powers are really interesting, because Makima can just control whoever she wants, whoever she thinks is lower than her. So obviously she wouldn't be able to control the Death Devil or the Darkness Devil, she wasn't able to. But she can control mostly anybody, and she's able to make insanely strong contracts and do a bunch of these other weird ability, the crushing thing across this country and stuff. That stuff was, I'm pretty sure, a part of her powers, but also something that was just a weird esoteric ability that these horsemen can do. And Fami, she continues on this theme of control where, if someone's starving, she can control them because, famine. But what else can she do? She can take these devils and make them small and use them wherever she wants, and have pawns of these devils. She can just control a bunch of I think devils mostly, but I'm guessing she could control people too. Which that might be a difference where maybe Makima, the control devil, can control people, but Fami can control devils easier. I'm not sure. And then we also see this theme of control with Yoru's powers or the War Devil's powers, where anything that she owns, she personally owns, can become a weapon. It all comes around the same sort of thing where Makima has to view someone as lower than her to control them. Fami has to starve someone to control them. Yoru has to basically own something to control them or turn it into what she wants. So there's lots of really different abilities for all 3 of them, but it seems all their abilities refer or sort of have this controlling ability, being able to manipulate humans or devils or something like that. But the Death Devil, I'm just gonna guess her powers are a lot different. Maybe she can control everybody she wants, Makima and Fami, and maybe she can make weapons War, but I wouldn't really bet on it, because why would the 4th horseman and the oldest have all of their powers instead of having her own powers, which is what I would think. Maybe, and this is a headcanon theory I thought of, maybe the more people that are contracted with the Death Devil, and when they die or off themselves, the Death Devil gets stronger, something like that. Or the fear of death is just gonna make somebody die in front of them. It would be really weird if the powers were just insanely strong and just out of nowhere you just get you look at the Death Devil and your head blows up. Sort of in the most recent One Piece chapters, where these really strong powers are getting introduced, and we know how we're gonna handle them now, because Fami's basically said even earlier on that war can be made to win or defeat the Death Devil or the whole thing, just because if the War Devil has a strong enough like a weapon, it can probably defeat anything. Like I'm just gonna guess, maybe Asa might have to make like a really valuable possession into a weapon, and I'm not really sure what it would be. Like in my head, it's sort of like maybe Yoru has to turn Asa into a weapon. And like she becomes the only one left in the body to create this insanely strong weapon because they've sort of made this bond together. Or maybe it's the other way around where like Asa can turn Yoru into a weapon. And like, I mean, Asa even more so would be sad because, you know, she built this relationship with Yoru, like even though it's not the healthiest, it's still one of her only friendships that she's had for like this long. So I'm just going to guess that somehow the Death Devil is going to be sort of scared of war in some way. But we also know that the Chainsaw Man has defeated all 4 of these horsemen, or at least fought them all and got away without dying. So we know that the Chainsaw Man, or Pochita, is strong enough to do this, but right now he's not really as feared just because of all the Chainsaw Man church like propaganda and stuff, which I'm not really sure why they made Denji like unliked by the public when they want to make him stronger, but I'm just guessing like they had to make him not a hero so people could fear him. And that's sort of like my main thing is like humans have to fear the devil to make it stronger. Like they can't like revere it or like it. Like you can't just love something to make it stronger in this world, I'm guessing. But people are going to fear like Denji and the Chainsaw Man because like just Chainsaw Man is everywhere. What they think is Chainsaw Man. Because I mean, he's got chainsaws out of his head and his hands and it's all over the world at this point. So we know that like we haven't really gone across the seas to see, you know, different countries and their devil hunting tactics and stuff like that. But we have seen other people come into Japan from other countries. And it seems like devil hunting is like, you know, around the whole world. So there's lots of devil hunters just on Earth, basically. I'm just going to guess. Since, you know, those assassins came from across the country, from the US, the 3 brothers, and then Quan Chi from China, and then Reze from Russia, even though that was before the International Assassins arc. But all of these people, I mean, each country in the world definitely has devil contract users and all this stuff. Like, we know that the US government is like used the gun devil for a little bit. So we know that most of this stuff is worldwide and that this fear of Denji is going to be worldwide. And even like the War Devil too, just because this is a war between these devils that have turned into Chainsaw Man and like, I guess, public safety devil hunters across the world. So we'll see how this war stacks up. I mean, I sort of was predicting it earlier on that we were going to go into like a big fight, but it wasn't really in the way I thought because I wanted to see the hybrids fight, but like they're just not doing shit right now. And I really hope that Denji sort of like makes a group of like, I guess these hybrids and like Nayuta, Fami, and Asa, like they just fight the Death Devil together. Like, I mean, it'd be like sort of like a cliche manga, you know, the whole group of everybody we know teams up against the big bad. But it would be cool to see, you know, an actual like a group work from all these hybrid devils and all, you know, the horsemen and stuff like that to take down the Death Devil, which, you know, seems like an impossible task because, you know, if Denji eats the Death Devil, nobody's going to know about death anymore. And that's an interesting one because remember at the start of the story, Yoru said she was going to make Chainsaw Man vomit up like nuclear weapons and all this stuff. So that's still a like plot point that is still open because Yoru is not friends with Denji. Asa's not friends with Denji really. And they're told to stay away from him. So she can't really like, you know, get the nuclear weapons out of him. But I want to know if she's able to do that. Like, maybe that's just like her having to kill him. Maybe she's able to take like weapons out of Denji somehow. But I mean, that would just be another like crazy ass ability that these horsemen have that it wouldn't blow my mind. It wouldn't piss me off if she had that. But we will see. Because I've been waiting like to see how this stuff's going to turn out. Because, you know, she said she can make Denji puke up all of these weapons that she wants. When is it going to happen? Near the end of the story maybe where, you know, they actually need more fighting power and stuff. I'm not sure. But we'll see how this all turns out. Like, if Denji turns into Pochita, like, you know, goes to full form again, I mean, what's going to happen? Like, are the rest of, like, the 4 horsemen, or the 3 horsemen after they kill the Death Devil, going to go after Denji, you know, to get, like, revenge or something? Or are they going to be friends because, like, you know, he helped them out? Like, there's so many theories for, like, what's going to happen next. Same with every chapter of, like, Chainsaw Man. Like, the shit's just so open to what could go next and how Fujimoto's going to write, because we can never predict anything. I mean, besides the Death Devil coming in, which is obviously, you know, a huge plot point that has been stated for a while, but we'll see what happens in 2 weeks. Sadly, man, I really wanted another chapter next week just because like we've been rolling, like the pacing and everything. We're finally getting back to part one, it feels like. But like the story so far has really built everything up to be like even better than it was in part one, in my opinion. Like I really have liked this story and how like, you know, like you can tell like how Asa and like Denji, they're way more down to earth and like they're like real people. Like you can see, you know, Asa's anxiety or like Denji's loneliness where like these are real people, or these characters are like, they feel like real people and we can really just believe that they are. So I really do just appreciate the writing in part two. It's really good so far. While in part one, Denji was more of just like a goofball. He was more of a comedic relief guy who just wanted to, you know, touch boobs, but we all know he just wanted like maternal affection and stuff like that. So we'll see how Denji's going to develop even more into a character, because I definitely don't think his character development's done, even though he's in a pretty steady spot right now. We're mostly focusing on Asa and all this stuff. So I think next chapter, we'll see Asa and whatever happens between her and Yoshida. And then we'll probably cut back to see, or we won't even cut back to see Denji and Nayuta. We'll just cut to a different day or something, because I feel like we might like cut to the, like when the King of Terror comes down. But I'm not sure because, you know, Bareem, he's still like chained up and he's got all these Chainsaw Man folk behind him. And I mean, they want to make Denji stronger, but like, do they want Nayuta there? Like, I'm not sure. So we'll see what happens next, well, in 2 weeks. But thank you guys for watching. I appreciate it if you made it this far. Please subscribe if you enjoyed the video, and peace.